Good morning, grade 11, and welcome back to a new lecture of the distance learning about the same piece of poetry, Aunt Julia by Norman McCaig, but different content. So last time we talked about the first stanza, stanza 1, and we said that he was introducing his aunt to us, was introducing the subject of this poem to us, and was referring that the poem will be about his aunt Julia. In the second stanza, he's going to go through the description of his aunt and how she looks like and things around that. But before going through the summary of this stanza, you will listen to the second stanza with me.
She wore men's boots when she wore any. I can see her strong foot, stained with peat, paddling the treadle of the spinning wheel, while her right hand drew yarn marvellously out of the air.
A very important part here is the description of his his aunt, and how active she was all the time she was speaking or working. So she was very active and she was very clever. She used to work all the time. So let's go on the summary of it. The poet begins to create a picture of the woman who lives a life close to the soil in this rural landscape. She was like a farmer. She was like a very hard-working woman working in the rural landscape. She was very active, very hyperactive and working all the time. Her work is physically demanding, means that she wanted to work very hard to finish it physically. She used to use her hands, her legs in finishing her work, both out of doors and within her house. So inside her house she used to work herself, so just like cooking, working, cleaning, things like that. And outside as well, she used to use her hands. It means that she used to finish her work physically by herself. Here maybe he refers that she was very strong to finish everything physically and without complaining. She is often barefoot, but if short, wears practical men's boots, and the poet clearly admires her completing these tasks with capability. It means that she didn't used to wear boots, but if she tended to wear a boots, she wore men's boots. We see her engaged in one of the duties of her domestic life, spinning. It means that she was finishing everything, spinning, going here and there, moving a lot, finishing a lot of things. She was very active and she was finishing everything quickly. This is a skill heavily associated with island life, since Harris is famous for producing tweed. In this stanza he is referring to how active she was and how she was finishing her work very quickly, and her work was physically demanding, yes, because she was finishing everything by her hands and also using her legs. He was describing her and describing how she finishes her work. The long line paddling with the treadle of the spinning wheel serves to accentuate, means to imply, to clarify the lengthiness of the spinning process, and creates a sense of movement and activity which McCaig would associate with his aunt. Here he is just talking about how great she was and her work. She was finishing it very quickly, spinning here and there. In almost every description of her in the poem, she is either in motion or speaking. So here he was referring to that she was moving or speaking, emphasizing the shocking finality of her death in the final stanza. Here he's referring to her movement or her emotions or her speaking during her life. And after her death, it was a complete silence. It was a great shock to the poet after her death, because she was very active she was speaking all the time, but now everything, all the time, there is a great silence. As he continues to recall the spinning process, the description of her right hand drew yawn marvelously out of the air conveys the air of magic or illusion about the task, which was almost entrancing for the young boy watching. So here he was talking about watching her moving and speaking all the time. She was very active. She never stayed silent, but after her death, there is a great silence. The long vowels in her hand drew yawn. Elongates means extend the line and helps to convey the impression of the wall being stretched out, and made thought that the use of the present tense throughout this stanza creates a sense of immediacy, and shows how vividly and readily he can still access his memories. Here he's narrating the memories and how tough they are to him. Because he used to see her active and speaking all the time, but now there is great silence, and it is a great shock to the poet. So here, this stanza is about the description of his aunt and the activities of her throughout her life, and it is a great thing to imagine his feelings after her death. That's all about the summary of this stanza. I hope everything was beneficial, and be ready to underline the most important ideas or lines to be used in the analysis of this poem.